Items 13 and 14 go together. They basically talk about open house signs in the town of Carefree. Item 13 is ordinance 2013-06, amending Article 8, signs permitted. Item 14 is ordinance 2013-07, amending Article 11-3-3 of the Carefree Town Code. So the first part is changing the zoning ordinance. The second part is talking about the town code. Mr. State.
You have detailed in your packet that the ordinance, for the zoning ordinance, affects real estate signs, and open house signs are one of those categories. The town code ordinance change only affects open house signs positioned in the right-of-way. They're kind of packaged together, and they're in the proper sequence in terms of the sequence for the motions that happen in this meeting. One of the main objects of this text amendment for open house signs is to increase visibility for realtors attempting to sell properties in Carefree. The idea being if we can increase the visibility of the open house signs, then they don't have to be up on the streets for quite as long. The houses will sell more quickly, and therefore will have higher price points at those home sales, as opposed to lesser visibility, prolonged durations in which properties sell. So we feel this is a benefit. We worked closely with the Scottsdale Association of Realtors. One of their representatives, Andy Fegley, is here today. And the result of this process resulted in a unanimous approval from the Planning and Zoning Commission. And the text amendment details are before you at this time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
We're talking about changing heights and sizes and stuff of the signs. And maybe I missed it. Did we now limit the number of signs and the placement of them?
We increased the number of open house signs from 5 to 8, but we added regulations regarding placement. Before there weren't placement regulations, it was just the quantity that limited placement. This time we said they can only be placed at intersections and across the street from the house. So in essence, we're getting a little bit more stricter regarding where they can be placed.
Directional for
We're talking directional, you're right, directional for open house signs.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For the record, my name is Andy Fegley with the Scottsdale Area Association of Realtors, here tonight on behalf of the more than 8,000 members in our association, 300 of whom call Carefree their home. We worked long and hard on this, and the result you have before you tonight is due in large part to a very cooperative situation between Mr. Neese, Mr. Stapley, and Mr. Stutton. We all sat together and realized what the best solution was to remove any roadblocks from one of the most important economic engines or drivers for the community, and that is real estate. So we appreciate immensely the work that was put into this to come to the conclusion. Again, that's before you for your consideration. We came into this as with a promise that the result, we will educate our members, because I think that was failing before. And the most significant change in the ordinance is allowing our members to still acquire their permit and pay the fee. However, it is attached to them rather than to a house. So they actually get to keep, or their sign rather. So it's more of it frees them up because we want to, all of us want to have a predictive business model. We want to be able to predict where we're going to be, and open houses sometimes aren't that way. But being able to keep their sign with them and their permit to that sign is a huge help to them. So again, here to speak in favor of both ordinances, and look forward to any questions or comments. Or
the relationship between the town ordinances and the HOA requirements that there may be. It would be my understanding that if there were a more restrictive HOA requirement, that would govern for that particular area. In lacking that, or in the town right-of-ways outside of HOAs, then this ordinance would prevail. That's correct.
Yeah, the town does not regulate CC&Rs that have the responsibility of HOAs to enforce.
And there's state law, I believe, that would trump HOA restrictions that are in violation of what state law
Bottom line is, if the CCNRs are more restrictive, the town does not enforce that. It would be up to the HOA. But going back to the point of whether it's legally enforceable, that's a whole separate issue, and the HOA's attorney would need to represent that.
Okay.
The permit that the real estate agent obtains for the open house sign is for a period of,
Currently, they're for a period of 30 days. This ordinance would be the same, except they could purchase multiple months at a time, up to 1 year.
One thing I would note to the council is I asked Kevin Stuckey, our code enforcement officer, what he thought about it. I'm very leery of council standing up here and acting an ordinance that says water will flow uphill beginning the first of the month. I don't want to put words in Mr. Stuckey's mouth, but I think he is confident that this new ordinance is enforceable and might be an approval of what we have now. If you would care to say anything, I invite you to, or whatever you think.
You summed it up well.
So fundamentally, water still runs downhill.
Just one comment. So when I was in P&Z, we massaged the rules, and now we're doing it again. And I think it's just a matter of seeing how it works. If it works well, fine. If it needs to be tweaked, then we come back and look at it again.
Well said, sir. I have a motion.
so moved.
I have a motion from Councilman Farrar, a second from Councilmember Price. All those in favor of approving ordinance 2013-06 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to approve ordinance 2013-07. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.